Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud, and this is Spies, Lies, and Allies, Episode 1, The List Recap. And this was watched by a dismal amount of people, 660,000 people. I think, I sure did some research, but I think this might be one of the lowest premieres of all time, even lower than, I think Invasion was pretty low. Possibly Bloodlines was even lower than that, but this might be the lowest, and who knows why. You know, maybe it is. You know, they're like, hey, where's Bananas? You know what I mean? Like, I want to look at him first. You know, first look. That's a reference. You know, but who knows? I know that last season was pretty small. Yeah, there was a small amount as well, but who knows? You know, if I mean, okay, I'll just get this out of the way. This episode was kind of lame. Like the mission, the daily challenge, as it's called. I realize that I've called it a mission for fucking going on 7 years now. And nobody calls it that. They all call it the daily challenge or the challenge, which I think is dumb. You got to differentiate that from the show itself, you know. And some people call the elimination the final challenge, you know, of the episode. It's yeah, no, I do not agree with that. But just going into this, you know, I want to like the show. I love when they have a fresh new cast every single time, because like that's how it used to be back in the day. It would always be like fresh talent. So you would have like all this new personality, all this new political drama and stuff like that, which we do have. But to get into it more would be like, oh, well, a possible rookie revolution? No, it didn't happen this episode. You know, like what happens is that we just see rookie versus rookie, like what happens all the time. And I didn't think the mission was very impressive, and I didn't think the elimination was very impressive. I mean, it was okay, you know. But let's get on with it. Let's focus here. Yeah, let's what do we got here? At the very beginning, Anissa and Logan win compromised, and they become the agency. So what really happens here is that all the veterans, or no, more importantly, all the Americans are chained up in rusty little chains to a bunch of cinder blocks. And on all those cinder blocks are like numbers and letters. And they're just waiting to be picked to be broken free by the foreign agents. And really it's like, well, this wasn't that great, because all the foreign agents have to do is just run. You know, it's just a race. Nothing too treacherous or anything like that. And then they're like, oh, I choose you. Because apparently on, it's like a pre-show sort of episode where I didn't watch it. But I guess the Americans showed up. And they're like, oh, well, clearly there's like a bunch of beds here. So there's going to be a shitload of other people showing up. And then all the foreign people got stats on who they would want to choose to pick to be their partners and stuff, which is interesting, I suppose, because I mean, it's just a twist on what we've seen before. We've seen this thing in Fresh Meat, but it's usually the alumni that have to choose between the rookies, and it's like, well, I don't know. I guess we just have to assume that the foreign agents never seen the show before, even though why the fuck would you sign up on this show? You have to have some sort of inkling on what this is about. You had to have seen an episode before. So that is kind of weird, but whatever. Again, this wasn't even an official episode. It was like a bonus episode before all this stuff happened. I think it was called Activation or some shit. But again, they just run. They have to pick up these sledgehammers, and there's like a key there, and then so like the fastest runners will be able to choose their partners the quickest, you know? And right away, I was just like, hey, why is it that it took forever for someone to pick CT, you know, from the female advantage? I always, like immediately I was like, that is fucking weird, because it's like, who else do you have at that point? Is there any other male champions on this time for the Americans? I don't think so. I mean, it was so weird because like some people were like, "Oh my God, you beat me to Nelson. So where's Corey?" I'm like, "Where's Corey? Who gives a shit? You know, aren't you supposed to be looking for like the best? Like, read the stats, man. Unless they were indeed fans and they're like, you know what, I'd rather prefer this person over CT or something like that." But either way, I was like, what is this? The people are running and they want to choose a person, and I don't agree with it and stuff like that. And also, back to the title of this little note that I have, Anissa and Logan win. Who the fuck? Like, Logan picked Anissa, and I understand that they won, but what does that matter? You know, like what? Logan, why did you choose Anissa? Like, her stats are terrible. Her stats are good. Wait. No, I think she's technically lost more than she's won. I think she's like 12 wins, 13 losses, or something like that. But it's like, okay, have you seen the show? You know? Whatever. So... So people have to, you know, they have to smash the bricks, and then they have to run up the beach a little bit, and then they have to try and put in the code. If they don't put in the code correctly after so many times, I think it freezes up, and it takes like 5 minutes before it allows you to try and put the code in again. And, yeah, that's kind of frustrating, especially 5 minutes. I mean, come on, that sucks. Okay, so Anissa wins, right? Anissa and Logan win, and I felt nothing. I was like, so? Like, deja vu because she won Double Agents, the first episode in Double Agents. And what happened after that? Not much, you know? Like, okay, she's good at puzzles. Who gives a crap? When it comes to running, she's gonna give up and be like, "This isn't the final. We don't have to win." You know, she's gonna make up all these excuses and stuff, and then she says in the confessionals, like, "Well, this isn't the final, and if I could just get back to the final, I know I could finally have the chance to show what I'm made of and stuff." Well, we saw that in All Stars, the spinoff that she did, and guess what? She did pretty goddamn bad, okay? She came in like 9th out of 12 places, you know? I mean, she finished, sure, that's good. Everyone did if you weren't purged in the final. But yeah, she's, yeah. So when she wins, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Doesn't mean a thing to me. I don't want to start off so negative, but it's like, really, it didn't matter. And I was like, Logan, why did you choose her? But again, I mean, you know, that doesn't matter either, because there's going to be a lot of mix-ups in the teams anyways, turns out. But yeah, that's all I have written down. I know that, what's her name? Ashley, who's a 2-time champ, and she was like, why isn't anybody picking me and stuff? And I was kind of with her. I mean, like, stats-wise, again, I don't know if these foreign people have watched the show before, but if you watch the show, you would know that she is very, very capable. I would put her up there with Tori in terms of the veteran women, the Americans. Yeah. That was so bizarre. But she ends up getting last. But they're not purged, you know. So good for them. But right away, I was just like, compromised. It kind of sucked. I feel like we compromised in a way, you know. But whatever. Let's move on. I have other stuff written down here. I have Rookie Revolution 2 ? Because there's so many survivors. There's so many rookies, but there's a lot of survivors. And come on. Turbo was a survivor. What's his name? Fuck. Ray? Jay. No, Jay. Yeah, Jay was a survivor. He was pretty good. And so was, what's her name? Damn it, what was her name? Natalie, I think? Until she had to leave, you know? Just in general, I think survivors have a lot to, bring a lot to the table. They physically have to be, endure these grueling things, and then political, when it comes to the politics, they have to have their A game. Like, that's all most of the Survivor was back in the day before they had these little missions and stuff. So right away, I was like, oh shit, Rookie Revolution 2, here we go. This makes sense because the veterans are totally outnumbered. And right away, they're like, okay, well, the rule is no veterans vote in another veteran, even if we don't like each other, a.k.a. Nelson and Fessy. But right away, jumping forward a little bit, we're going to see that the survivors cannibalize each other. Fucking, what's her name? Remy? Is that her name? I don't remember. Emmy? I don't know. We'll get into it. It's somewhere. Emmy, yeah. It's somewhere in the list. And she's the one that fucking blabs and says, oh my god, the rookies are, they have that list and shit. And I think is one of the most stupidest moves I've ever fucking seen. When you have the numbers, when you have the capabilities, and you do that, I don't know. I'm like, you have blue hair. I don't care. Blue hair don't care. You know what I mean? Hashtag. Okay, what do I have? A birthday party. There's a birthday party. I forgot who. Michelle and someone else. I don't remember who. Was it Logan? I'm not sure. But it's a birthday party and people celebrate and shit. And while that's happening, Nani and Casey hook up. And to me, I'm like, Casey, no, don't. Nani is terrible. Whatever. Yeah, she's hot, but who isn't on this show? Like, who gives a crap? Nelson and Ashley hook up, and I'm like, Nelson, you didn't like being betrayed by Fessy? That's all Ashley does is betray people. She will take your money. She took Hunter's money, and they were on Final Reckoning. Not as, like, people that just hated each other, but they were actually exes, all right? So, right away, I'm like, Nelson, no, man. And then we have Fessy and Amanda hooking up. I don't know, whatever. Amanda's like, oh my gosh, but he's friends with Nelson, and he's my boy, and he did him dirty, but I don't care, I'll still make out with him and shit. And I think Fessy and Nelson have an argument, and Nelson's like, hey man, what you did on Double Agents was fucked up. We were friends, and you decided to go against me in Hall Brawl, but not only that, though, but you did some dirty-ass tactics. Like, you fought dirty. Like, you stuck your fingers in my eyes and, tried to, like, hurt me in there and shit like that. So, I don't know. I guess they had to have it out, but I don't know. I guess it didn't help that Nelson just got done making out with Ashley, who's also the same as Fessy. Like, they don't give a shit, really. Like, they could turn that shit off, their emotions, and just fuck you over, So, as sorry as I felt for Nelson, I'm like, well, you're kind of, Ashley's probably going to do the same thing to you in her own Hall Brawl of ways, Yeah. What else do I have? Okay, so this is the big thing with Emmy again, there's like numbers here, but she is the one that says, "Oh, Tori, Anissa, I just want to betray my fellow survivors and say that Michaela has a list." And honestly, I just don't get it. I don't. Why? Like, why would you? Why are you trying to just hope that you are recast next season, and you're just gonna hope that Anissa and Tori are like, "Oh my gosh, like, you're a friend now. We're not gonna betray you." Like, they don't care. They are in the middle of a veteran alliance, like, a pact, a truce. They want to get out all the rookies. All they need is an excuse. Fuck the excuse. They're going to throw in all the rookies and shit. So, to me, I'm like, Emmy, you're a fucking idiot. Again, I don't want to be so negative, but right away I'm like, well, this is bad. You have numbers. And not only that, you're a survivor. Like, you guys are equipped to take out these challengers. To me, even though I don't watch the show, I just imagine that survivor people are better than challenge people, So, okay, whatever. So Michaela has that list. And then one of the most annoying things I ever fucking saw was Anissa literally going through people's stuff. She sneaks into the room and she's just going through people's stuff to find that list. And right away, I'm like, kick her out. Fuck that. That is... I don't think I've ever seen anyone go through people's stuff like that before, right? Like, I think... what's her name? Someone threw Beth's clothes into a pool, right? And that was pretty hardcore. But it's not like they went through the clothes before they threw it in to find something that they wanted and shit. I was like, Anissa is a veteran. God knows why. I don't know why producers love her so goddamn much, but I hate her. And this was just another moment where I'm like, get her out of the show. Like, how old is Anissa at this point? Well, you can't do that. And then, after word goes around that, to Michaela, they're like, oh my god, people are talking about a list and shit. And then Michaela walks up to, like, some people. Anissa's there, and she's like, all right, so I've been hearing about this list. I'm just going to go grab it. And Anissa does this thing. She's like, I don't, okay. She plays it off like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no interest or whatever. And that right there completely encapsulates why I totally dislike Anissa. Anissa is not even like a good person to hate. You know what I mean? Like a great heel, like someone you love to hate. I don't love to hate her. I hate to hate her. There's no love at all there. She never leaves. She's been here season after season after season. I have no faith in her whatsoever. And like I said, she didn't fucking win Double Agents. She quit and gave up, and she got into the final for All Stars, and she did terrible. And how am I supposed... God damn it. She's overweight. How about... Yeah, let's mention that. She's overweight. She's just getting older and more heavier. And now she's, like, snooping through people's stuff. And I'm over it. I don't know why she's still around. I think it's just one of those things where it's like a producer happens to love her while no one else does. Like, there was an interview or an article about how there was a casting producer, and she's like, okay, I admit it. The reason why Josh is around so much is because I personally like him a lot. And right then and there, I was like, oh, well, that's dumb. That is terrible. That is a terrible reason to have someone back again and again and again. Wow. Anissa, please go away. You're only getting worse. All right? Legit. You're only getting worse. Let's get into nominations, where Michaela, again, brings up the list, and she's like, hey, it was just like people I trust, people I don't trust, and people do attack. And she's like, Tori, you're on the list to attack, or some crap like that, right? And she also tries to throw Michelle, a fellow survivor, under the bus. Which again, this is just like, rookies. You guys are fucking up. You have no idea how much power, how much potential you have in this game, and it's just a waste. It really is. Like, that was the main takeaway. This reminded me of when in Rivals 3, when Bananas and Sarah were dominating all the missions, right? And then finally, what's his name? What was his name? Dario? Yeah. Dario and whoever his partner was had the power, finally, to just put them into eliminations, and they didn't. Instead, he's like, well, hopefully Bananas and Sarah will consider this a friendship, and, and we're gonna go to the end or something like that. And it didn't work. And in fact, I made a most watched video. Like, that was the most watched episode. That one moment where there was a time to turn the tides, and they didn't. And after that, that's when views went down, because the general populace were like, oh, well, this sucks. We've seen Bananas and Sarah dominate. This was the one time to shake things up, and it's not going to happen. So right then and there, with all these survivors, these rookies who have the numbers and have the talent, are picking on each other, cannibalizing each other. So right then and there, I felt like that was the same thing, where I'm like, oh, okay, so we're just going to see the same shit. We're just going to see rookies versus rookies. How boring, How cliche. I will say, though, that the nominations are kind of interesting. They're kind of set up like the United Nations or something like that. I don't know. They're all like there, grouped up together. And then they have these little devices where they just kind of vote. And everyone can see who everyone voted for, It's really different. It's kind of interesting. But to no surprise, Michaela, because of her list, is voted in, and her partner, Renan. So they're going into elimination, which is called the lair. I really like the look of the lair. It looks pretty badass, except everyone stands on top of these stairs. I don't know. It looks weird. Usually there's some like rails or something that people could hang on to and look down upon and stuff, but they're just on top of stairs. I don't know. I mean, I like the color and the design, except there's no rails. And I need rails, man. Turns out. Okay, so Anissa and Logan are the agency, so they get to pick. This is the twist, because Michaela and Renan have to go in, right? They get to pick any guy and any girl from any team to go against them. And they pick Corey, who was partnered with Emmy, and then Michelle, who was partnered with Nam, was it? Which, by the way, we'll get into that. Nam's out. That is terrible. That is so... It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, I did not see that coming, and because I didn't see him. You don't think about him because you don't see him in the group. It was all very like an afterthought. Anyways, let's get what is it called? Back Me Up, and you're sitting down. You and your partner are strapped to the other team back to back, and you just have to like push or pull them to a certain side, and it's all over. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed to take a while. It was kind of confusing because I think Corey was like grabbing Renan's leg for a while, and then Michaela was grabbing Michelle's leg later on, and Michelle's like, you can't do that, it's not allowed, or something like that. And I was very confused because I was very unclear with the rules. Like, TJ wasn't there to say shit. You know, I mean, he was there, but not mentally, as always. But yeah, Michaela and Renan are eliminated. Yeah, it's all because of the list. We haven't really seen a list since Laurel, you know, and people didn't attack her for that. Remember that? She like fucking brought it to people and showed the list, you know. So it's interesting that how you know, such a double standard. Okay, so going back, TJ's like, hey, guess what? Nam is not here. He's out. It's so unceremoniously he's gone. It sucks. It really, like, I love Nam, and he's no longer with us. Not even an explanation on why he's not there, but he's replaced by Ed, who's from the Circle. He looks pretty muscly, muscle bound. So he shows up. Elimination winners can now. Okay, so this is a sort of a new twist. They could stay together. You know, they could form a whole new team, or they could return to their old partners, or they can infiltrate any team except for the agency. So yeah, it's, you know, this is basically Double Agents 2. Yeah, I mean, I guess Double Agents 2 just doesn't have a ring to it. But then again, I don't know. Spies, Lies, and Allies. I'm not really sure if I like that title at all. It's too on the nose. It's basically like Cutthroat, you know? Like, oh, you couldn't think of any other thing? Like, I mean, the island wasn't called like Betrayal and shit like that, you know? I don't know. Very, very bizarre. But okay, so Michelle infiltrates Devin, takes Devin out of everyone, anyone she could have took. She took Devin. I think. I mean, she's like, well, he's smart, and maybe she's like, well, I'll take care of the physicality. I just want him to be smart, and he knows. You know, he's got the veterans on his side and shit. So she didn't take like a fellow rookie, so that's something, right? Corey L takes Tori, her ex-partner, whoever Tori's partner was like pissed, right? But I was like, well, are you pissed because you liked her? I mean, he did, didn't he? Yeah. But it's like, dude, a gay man took your girl, but that doesn't mean shit, you know? So does this mean that, because like you could still hook up with her, like he's not going to try anything, right? So I don't know. I wouldn't be so pissed unless he truly felt that Tori physically was like the best person to be around and shit, you know? So maybe, yeah. Okay, and then Emmy and Ed have to get together because they were both abandoned. Emmy right away, like, I'm not into her at all. I don't give a shit, you know. And then Tracy and Kells, since their people were stolen, now they're together and stuff. So yeah, this is kind of what I thought they were going to do in Double Agents. You know, and all of this, by the way, is kind of a ripoff of Stone Cold Steve Austin's Redneck Island. He did this shit years ago, man, and I still think that that show is not given its due. You know, he came up with some good stuff. So, hey, that's the end of the episode. You know, maybe it'll pick up. Again, like I said, I like the fresh cast, but as soon as they were just like betraying each other, that like right away I'm like, oh, we're just gonna see the same shit. Possibly, we're just gonna see the veterans take over. And even though I love the veterans, I also want to see this thing shaken up. But that wasn't the case, and we'll see what happens. That was the end of the episode. Like, subscribe, comment. This was Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.